Okay, I think this may have fixed it. Can everyone see me now and hear me now? Okay, now I think we may have it fixed. How about now? How about now? Okay, we got it. Okay, so everyone can hear me. Everyone can see me. Is that right? Okay, good deal. Okay, so what I'm going to do before we begin, this is IrixGuy's live show, episode number 9, and I do apologize for the inconvenient start. Actually, I've been trying to better improve my bandwidth on the upstream. So the first test I was doing 1080p, live streaming 1080p high definition, and now I'm at 720p. And you probably see me looking around. I'm in the studio. I've got a monitor over there. I've got the camera right there, and I'm trying to become more proficient with using this new streaming equipment and my faster internet connection. So if you can click that little gear towards the bottom right of the YouTube channel, you may be able to see 720p. It's my expectation that's probably the greatest speed you're going to see. While we continue here, I'm going to go ahead and share this out through social media, to my various social media presences, so people can join in live. And let's see, I encourage you to do the same. This is a live show, so you can watch and comment live. This is IrixGuy's live show, and I've got a few topics on the agenda today. One of the first topics that we'll get into is entrepreneurship. That was something that several of my top fans had asked about during a previous live show, so I want to go into a little bit of detail on that topic and try to answer any questions that you may have. So I'm just sharing this out real quickly here on social media, and then we'll get started, because this was not a scheduled event. I did this spur of the moment, and that's actually kind of what I'm leaning towards with my live shows. I think sometimes it's good just to do a spur of the moment live show versus feeling locked in at a certain day and a certain time to host a live show. I'm just going to say live now. Please feel free to watch and comment live. Share with others too. Okay, so that's going out, and I got it on Twitter. And hello everyone. I see people trickling in. Got someone watching 1080 on the iPad Air too. Very cool, very cool. 720p is working fine. That is great, because this is the challenge with the live show. Number one is getting enough bandwidth to be able to broadcast the video and the audio. The other challenge, as you see here, this is actually a virtual set. This set behind me, this is in, if you're familiar with New York City, this is in Central Park. If you're walking down Fifth Avenue and you walk into the park and you go right towards where the zoo is, you go under there's one of the first bridges there. This is one of those first buildings that you'll see towards the right in Central Park. So kind of testing the chroma key here to see how it looks with motion. And I don't know. I mean, y'all tell me what you think. This is, I don't know if the lighting in here is 100% perfect yet. But let's go ahead and jump right in. I know you may have seen Epic Drone Show, which is my drone-centric show. I enjoy tinkering with drones a lot, as you may have noticed. But also, I feel there's a big component that a lot of my other viewers enjoy, and that's the not only the tutorial content, but also the entrepreneurship. And I think something that's lacking in society today, historically, the quote unquote preferred or perfect career path is someone attending a prestigious Ivy League university like Purdue, where Sean Connery, the big Maine Coon cat, attended, or just going to a decent university and getting that degree and just moving up, advancing rapidly up the corporate ladder. And that's the mentality that a lot of people have ingrained within them, and that's the mentality that a lot of people pursue. And a lot of people are very, the shirt, it doesn't. Yeah, that's funny. The blue, this is a light blue shirt, and you can see it's the chroma key on this particular camera is not exactly perfect because it kind of looks like it's glowing. And this is just a light blue cotton shirt, so it's got a. Thanks for the heads up on that. But yeah, a lot of people think that that you got to go a certain way career-wise, and the bottom line is that in today's society, in particular, it may be in people's best interest to pursue the entrepreneurial route. Now, a lot of people, when they hear the job title entrepreneur, they often think of entrepreneur as someone that it's just a discrete way of saying unemployed. And the reality of the situation is that there are entrepreneurs that badge themselves entrepreneur for that reason, but there's also entrepreneurs that that badge themselves entrepreneur because they do think outside of the box and they're willing to accept failure to find success. And that's the beauty of entrepreneurship. If you're willing to I'm getting a lot of this shirt is not working with the chroma key, so I'm gonna get something here. Hold on. Okay. So I'll put on the only 720p now because I jumped from 1080p to 720p. So I guess my 1080p it came through intermittently. I do have a broadcast delay, so I guess it started out at 1080p, and then when I had bandwidth issues in my audio, and I jumped to 720p. So we should be 720p now. So I've changed the shirt color. This is my Captain IrixGuy uniform. One of the characters that you'll see here on IrixGuy's Adventure Channel, youtube.com/IrixGuy. So important lesson learned with live chroma key. Stay away from those blues. Stay away from those greens because it may make your body look kind of funny on camera. It tries to chroma key it tries to green screen you. So yeah, jumping back into the entrepreneurial thing. So the big thing is, don't be afraid of failure, and that's the thing I tell everybody when I'm networking with fellow entrepreneurs. That's the big thing. A lot of people are like, well, I do this, but and these smoothies, this stuff is awesome. It's fresh juice and pineapple juice and yogurt. That's interesting. But don't be afraid of failure, because if you're afraid of failure, you're never going to truly succeed. And so this white shirt, Captain IrixGuy shirt, is a little bit better. I appreciate that. So yeah, don't be afraid of risk. Now, with that said, if you're the type of personality that if you fail, once or twice, then you feel you'll never succeed, then entrepreneurship may not be for you. What is a pirate's favorite brand of rum? Okay, brands of rum. There's a lot of good rums, and I'm looking over at my rum collection. I like Angostura, or I may have mispronounced that. Angostura 1919. It's really good. Also, it's hard to go wrong with Appleton. Appleton is a really high quality rum. It's from Jamaica, and that's something I highly recommend. Even the base levels of Appleton, even if you're dealing with the I think it's called the VX, or even the tier just above that, the Reserve. But when you really get into the Master Blender's Legacy and all that, you get some really good stuff. Also, very good rum is, and they call it the Navy rum. It's called Pussers, and it was the rum. Greetings from, wow, we got people all over the world. That's cool. Pussers is what they call the Navy rum, and it used to be issued to the Royal Navy. So that's a good one. And then there's, let's see, what else? Bambera, I may have mispronounced it. It's from Turks and Caicos. It's pretty good. They're not really especially known for their rums. Mount Gay rum is really good out of Barbados. Let's see, what else? I mean, there's just so many rums. That's the thing. Rum, if you're into rum when you're in the Caribbean, it's hard to go wrong with a good rum. I mean, unless you buy the mass marketed stuff. Now, if you're in the Virgin Islands, there's a rum there. It's called Cruzan, Cruzan, and it's quite common. Now, if you're in the Virgin Islands and pick it up, you can get some really premium levels of Cruzan. And a fun fact, and I learned it from a lady in a place that sells rum in St. Thomas. Actually, Captain Morgan Spice rum is apparently, according to her, it's just a rebadged version of Cruzan. Now, it's not one of the higher tier end levels of Cruzan, but it's some pretty good stuff. But moving on, I know, rum's an interesting thing, and being Captain Irish Guy, when I am selling the seas of the world, I often do enjoy a good sip or two of rum. But I'm not today. I'm in entrepreneur mode, so you can talk about some entrepreneurship and really anything I want to talk about. This is just a wide open live show. I like to keep it very casual, very fun. Yeah, so that's good. This live show software is working, and that's where I really want to take this channel more to the live form. I mean, obviously not step away from the consistent video publication daily, but to step into more of a structured, semi-structured live format. So wanted to see what everybody thinks about that. I mean, I know it's, when you're dealing with a live show, especially when we're at all corners of the world, it's often hard to schedule to attend a show live. So that's another reason why I'm not necessarily scheduling the live shows. So there's a lot brewing around here on the channel. One of the big things is that the channel is approaching, at the time of posting this, it's approaching, it's getting close to 44,000 subscribers, and we're getting close to 27 million video views. Now, ultimately, with a channel such as this, continuous growth is of utmost importance. But like I tell everybody else, if you're running a channel, if you're not having fun with it, there's really no point to I mean, if you're not having a good time, don't run a YouTube channel. Do you ever use Periscope to live stream, especially with DJI platforms? That's a great question. Firstly, DJI is without a doubt, at the time of hosting this live show, is my favorite drone on the market today. But I've never used a Periscope to live stream. Have you done it? Was it a cool process? Did the video look clear, or how did it come through? There's a lot of what's the technology in 2016 that everybody's most excited about? I mean, I know there's a lot of stuff we've seen at CES, the Consumer Electronics Show, and if you watch the Apple developers conference the other day, I don't know what your thoughts were about that, but I didn't see a lot of new stuff coming out. Saw a new iOS and a new Mac OS X operating system, but it just seemed that it's kind of Apple's kind of not pumping out the product like they used to in the past. Can you say something about camera quality, Phantom 3 versus Phantom 4? Actually, I can. And the Phantom 3 Pro, obviously, and the Phantom 4, the camera quality, and keep in mind, I film at 4K, 30 frames per second, ultra high definition. And I will say I can notice a negligible quality difference at best between the Phantom 4 and the Phantom 3 Pro camera. So if you're on the fence about those two drones, it's kind of it's the difference is from my experience, the camera quality difference between Phantom 3 Pro and Phantom 4 is so negligible that it would be hard for me to recommend one over the other. Now, from a design perspective, if you look at the bottom of the Phantom 4, you'll notice that the gimbal on it is more internalized, and then the overall build quality of the Phantom 4 seems to be structurally better. So from a build quality and overall design perspective, I give the edge to the Phantom 4. But if I was purely concerned with the camera quality, particularly the video quality in 4K 30, I would just go with the Phantom 3 Pro and potentially save some money, because the Phantom 4 is likely more. But check out, if y'all haven't checked it out, be sure to obviously check out my website, 400orbelow.com. That's my drone-centric website where you can find all the drones, the drone accessories. I've got a lot of videos there, and I've got a growing blog section that's very drone heavy. Yes, it's very clear. You pull in a lot of viewers. I use the Phantom 3 Pro in the Osmo to broadcast. That's really cool. Talking about a Periscope live stream with the Osmo and the Phantom 3 Pro. For monitoring tablet, iPad 2 versus 4. Actually, I don't use an iPad with my Phantom 3 Pro or my Phantom 4. I use and I'll get everyone a link to it here. It's an iPad, an iPod Touch. The reason I like it is because what I can do is it's smaller travel size, it's smaller travel weight, and I found that it doesn't seem to be as affected by extreme temperatures outside. And that can be a problem for me if it's hot out. I don't want it to overheat. This is the one I use right here. If you check out my site, that's the iPod Touch model that I use. I've used it with my Phantom 3 Pro, and now I use it with my Phantom 4. But yeah, there's a lot of people that like the larger screen. Now keep in mind, when I'm flying, I'm not flying FPV. I mean, I do have the FPV display, but I'm only utilizing that as a tool to confirm that my subject or object or whatever that I'm filming is within the camera's field of view. Yeah, so there's it really comes down to personal preference is what it comes down to. Which screen size works best for you. My opinion on goggles. Actually, I thought about picking up. I've got you may have seen my video a while back of the Zeiss Cinemizers, and those are pretty cool. But I mean, to be perfectly frank with you about when it comes to goggles, I don't know. I mean, they're cool, but I'm more of a I just want to check, see if my object is in the camera's field of view. I don't really care about. I'm not an FPV pilot, so I'm not concerned with the first person view. I'm just using it to line up my cameras. But they can have advantages, especially if it's really sunny out and you don't want to use a sunscreen for your tablet. You could use the FPV glasses instead. was looking through my stream settings here and seeing what's good. This camera hasn't aired out yet. I'm just using for this broadcast. I'm using it's actually a USB camera, so I'm not using the typical rig. I've used Blackmagic Intensity Extreme in the past, and I found that I get better results with this little USB camera for the live shows. So if the colors or anything crash during the show, let me know. That's interesting. Use them to show spectators the view. That's actually a pretty cool idea. So other people that are out in the field that aren't flying can have a good time instead of just watching the drone. Yeah, that is really cool. This is really interesting. I'm watching on my end here on the admin end. I can see the stream status. It says stream is healthy. It says stream health is excellent. So apparently 720p is where I need to stick for the YouTube live setting. And again, no more green or blue shirts. So you mess up the chroma key. But what does everyone want to talk about here? Because we've got, this is just an open show. I mean, my other show, Epic Drone Show, is all about drones, and we can talk about drones here. What is my bandwidth? Let me see. Let me visit my device and see what it's pulling right now. Yep, so I've got about 47 meg down and about 6 meg up. Okay, so the 1080p seemed okay. So the next live show, what I'll have to do is do the 1080p, because this one's 720p. Cool. Thanks for the heads up on that. Yeah, I need to rig some stuff up in the studio where I can have that because the camera's kind of down there. I kind of needed it to be up so I can look at the camera, because I'm kind of looking down at the camera. And I guess technically, with that bench in the background, if I design this set in a certain way, I could be sitting on the Central Park bench that's behind me. That's to be tested. So, yeah. As far as video content's concerned, what's your favorite type of? Closer to the camera. You're right. I do need to get closer to that. That would make it a lot better. Let's see. I'm just kind of looking here, seeing, and see, I've got a broadcast delay. I think it's quite significant. Yeah, because see, I just see myself kind of closer to the. Yeah. So how many hours of flight time do you have with the Phantom 3? Well, the Phantom 3 Pro. Oh gosh, I mean it's in the hundreds of hours. That's one of the drones that I put the most amount of flight time into. Keep in mind, I started with. This camera doesn't have zoom, but you know what I can do? Check this out. We're just gonna move it over there. It's on a tripod. So the set's probably all going haywire right now. I'm moving it closer. I'm getting back with it. Okay, so now what I've done, I've probably gotten it too close. Yeah, see, this camera doesn't have it doesn't have zoom. It's just okay. Now that, yeah, the lighting on that looks better. But now this shirt's kind of funky. And camera down a little bit. Cool. Let me do that. Oops, wrong knob. There we go. Whoa. Okay, now I think it'd actually go down a little bit more. And now I'm going to re-chroma key it. Let's see here. Now I'm going to adjust my live chroma key. See, now there's chroma key off. So now you're about to see just the green wall. Yeah, you're right. Darker shirt. And yeah, the light in here is pretty intense. I'm running 5500K. So let's see here. Yeah, I think the broadcast delay on this is quite significant because do y'all see a green screen yet, or are you still seeing the background that I have? Okay, so that's interesting because I took the background out. Okay, now I'm going to pick the yeah, the shirt's just going crazy. I think it needs, like you're saying, I need to have a darker colored shirt. Okay, so the lesson learned here is that this is the optimal camera distance, but the chroma key's not right. Okay, so we'll go ahead and continue with the show. Yeah, I'll just leave it until next time because it looks like I'm like some sort of ghost guy now. It's like you can see through me, dude. But I promise I'm actually here live in the studio, so... So yeah, drones, entrepreneurship. I mean, you tell me. I mean, this channel, this IrixGuy's Adventure channel, is across the board. You know, you need travel advice. You need, I mean, it's this channel is about everything. What are your favorite things to watch on YouTube? Which types of videos do you like? I mean, obviously, there's a lot of people here that like drone videos, but what else? Yeah, this is cool watching these stats in real time here. You can see people trickling in. Reviews. Which types of products do you like to see reviewed? So, yeah, I mean that's reviews are one of my favorite components of the channel. Actually, I like like going out and getting a product and putting it through its paces. I think it's not only which type of tech reviews are you referring to? Are you talking about camera equipment? We're talking about computer hardware. What specifically? gadgets. Yeah, yeah, those are always fun because they're kind of they're often kind of gimmicky, and they may be cool, they may be kind of lame. Yeah, Casey Neistat's vlogs. Yeah, actually, when I was in New York, I was up there for YouTube Space, recording at YouTube Space in Chelsea Market in New York, and that was something I did. I reached out to Casey Neistat while I was in Manhattan, and Casey never responded because I was hoping to do a YouTube collaboration video, but yeah, he never responded to my email. So anyway, no hard feelings there, but it would have been cool to have had a YouTube collaboration in New York City with Casey. Going to begin my own YouTube channel with live drone vlogging. That sounds pretty cool. Yeah, I think the live component is something that I think we're going to see increased popularity of live YouTube. I know in the past, if you ever messed with it, it was Hangouts on Air, and then they even had, for a brief time, they had a service called Helpouts, which would enable people to live stream live tutorials, and then Google discontinued that. I guess they didn't get enough adopters of that. But their new live streaming is pretty cool, and that's something, if anyone's curious about it, once I figure out all the lighting and the camera and the audio, I'm going to put together a tutorial on how to live chroma key. And obviously I don't have it figured out yet because I've got you can see through my shirt, so it's not working optimally yet. Hexacopters. Well, I reviewed a hexacopter, and that was a painful process. It was, I really wanted to like the unique Typhoon H. I mean, it was the first hexacopter I've purchased, and originally I canceled the pre-order because of what my fans said. They were kind of concerned about it, and I'm going to take off this second shirt because it's not even blocking the chroma key. But the Typhoon H, first hexacopter I've ever owned, and I just wasn't happy with it. Because actually, you can check out my videos, but the micro SD card slot on it was defective, and the consensus from my viewers was that the camera was also defective. I mean, I can tell you the camera quality that I got with it was not anywhere close to the Phantom 3 Pro or the Phantom 4. So needless to say, I was deeply disappointed with the performance of the Typhoon H. But then again, there's a lot of people out there that have reported having a great experience with it, and that's cool that it seems to be. Again, it seems to be kind of across the board with experience. So if you've used it, what was your experience? I'm playing with the chroma key here. I've not tried Facebook Live for the Phantom, but I have. I've used Facebook Live from a smartphone, and it's actually pretty cool, isn't it? I mean, I bought the Phantom 3 Pro and love it. The Phantom 4, to me, isn't worth the upgrade, especially with all the gear I have for the Pro. And you know what? That's something that that I agree strongly with. The Phantom 4, if you don't have a 4K drone, the Phantom 4, without a doubt, has the best structural build quality. You can tell that the plastic is a lot more solid feeling, and the gimbal assembly is more internalized. But from a video quality perspective, there's not a huge, I mean, it's a negligible difference between the Phantom 3 Pro and the Phantom 4. If there's any difference, and maybe it's just my mind playing tricks on me, but I think that the Phantom 4 video may look a little bit smoother. But then again, the Phantom 3 Pro video is silky smooth. So, yeah, I don't think if I was you, I don't think I would worry about jumping from Phantom 3 Pro to Phantom 4 either. Now, you think you have 100 hours on your DJI. Did you ever have to get it repaired? Phantom 3 Pro, never, well, I say I never had issues. I had troubleshooting challenges. So with that being said, I never encountered failed hardware with the Phantom 3 Pro. I did on multiple occasions encounter the tilted horizon issue, also known as the crooked camera. People call it a lot of different things, but that's something I can resolve with an IMU calibration, and that's been with my Phantom 3 Pro. That's been my only. Let me think again here for a minute. I didn't have any failed components. That was my only issue, and it was, I could resolve it with an IMU calibration. And actually, that calibration that I performed, and you may already have the procedure, you may not, but it's here it is right here. I'm going to send everybody a link. So this is the IMU calibration for the Phantom 3 Pro. Do you think DJI will release a newer in-between model, the Phantom 4 and the Phantom 5? Actually, I think that's highly plausible, and I'm basing that assumption upon a few things. I think they got, and again, this is all my personal opinion, speculation, and there's nothing that would make this verifiable in any way. I mean, it's just speculation, but I think they really got the Phantom 4 out real quickly because at that point in time, GoPro Karma was expected to release their drone early calendar year 2016. Now, as we all know now, GoPro Karma has been officially delayed until the end of the year. I think now they're targeting, is it October or November? So with that being said, that's given DJI some breathing room. So any smart business would let the next cat out of the bag right before the launch or right during the launch of that new product. So my gut tells me that we're going to see a Phantom 4, a more professional model of Phantom 4 that likely has a modular camera and may even have a 360-degree spherical camera, not to be confused with a camera that simply turns 360 degrees like the Typhoon H did. So, yeah, I think we'll definitely see something new in the Phantom lineup. Even if it's just a refresh of the Phantom 4, I think we'll definitely see something before the end of the year, before or during the launch of GoPro Karma. Now, GoPro Karma, if they execute well, GoPro Karma could definitely become a game changer. But again, at this point, it's all speculation because we don't know what GoPro Karma is going to bring to the table. I mean, I did pre-order the Lily drone, and the problem is that if you've been following the Lily drone updates, you're probably aware of the fact that it seems to keep getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. And my concern with that is that if something continues to get pushed back, if it ever actually hits, is it even going to be current enough to enjoy, or is there going to be greater technologies available at that point? So, yeah, the Lily camera for me has been a disappointment because I was expecting that, like I'm sure everyone else was, expecting that at the beginning of the year, and it just didn't happen. So, that's a huge disappointment in my opinion. So, let's see, 147 hours flight time and 270,498 meters on my Phantom 3 since I bought it when they first came out. That's a lot of flight time. That's cool. So there's 24 hours. Break that down, man. 24 hours in a day. 147 divided by 24 is 6.1. So that's close to a week. A solid week, day and night of flying. That's awesome. Have you considered vlogging? Well, I like to do these live shows, and I guess it's kind of, I know vlogging is a different format. I mean, there's a lot of big people out there who do it, like the Casey Neistat, and he's the one that immediately comes to mind. But it's just not. I like to post things in a certain way, and just I often feel that vlogging can be too scripted, and I don't like. Or travel vlogging. Now, travel vlogging could be really cool. Now, that's something I would definitely consider. So I think that could be could be cool. I got Sean Coonery, the enormous Maine Coon cat. Let's see how he looks on the green screen. Hey, Sean Coonery. Got the big cat over here. Yeah, he just came to the... what's your opinion about 4K at higher FPS than 30 frames per second as it is today? Mounted on DJI/Unique. I bet we see... I bet we see a 60 frames per second 4K camera before we know it. I mean, if you look at, and we're not talking about drone cameras, but professional camcorders, there's a lot of those that'll do 60 frames per second now. But I mean, obviously they're turbo expensive. But I bet one of our first ones may be the GoPro Karma, because I highly expect a new GoPro by the end of the year, and that's that would be something that I think once GoPro comes out with it, I think we'll see a lot of other drone. Well, by default, we'll probably see a lot of other drone manufacturers having to offer similar technologies at 60 frames per second or greater. Had Phantom 4 had 4K 60 frames per second, might have upgraded. If the Phantom 4 had 60, I definitely would have. An advantage to the for all the viewers out there that aren't familiar with FPS, with frame rate, frames per second. If you're speeding up or slowing down video in post-production, that greater frame rate makes a difference between a very choppy retime video or a very smooth retime video. So, yeah, I think it'll be great when we get that. Hold on, I got cat fur. Yeah. So, I think that'll be great when we start to see. Bye-bye, Croatia. Yeah, the Phantom 4, and again, I was super excited about the Typhoon H. It is cool. The landing gear is retractable. It does look impressive, and when I took it out of the box, it seemed to be very well engineered. But upon closer inspection and ultimately taking it out in the field and seeing the video quality that I got at 4K 30 frames per second, it just wasn't up to snuff. Now, a lot of my viewers have said, "Oh man, you got a defective camera," and granted, maybe it was a defective camera because I did have a defective micro SD card slot on the controller. So on the controller, I couldn't put in a micro SD card to update the controller's firmware. So that was really disappointing. So I definitely had a defective micro SD card slot on the controller. The camera was questionably defective. If it wasn't defective, the 4K 30 frames per second auto video quality that I got with it versus Phantom 3 Pro or Phantom 4 was nowhere close. And where I really noticed it was the what's referred to as color saturation. The best way for me to describe the Typhoon H 4K 30 auto video quality was that it just looked washed out. And especially when you're in a sunny environment and the sun was hitting it. And now, granted, most cameras can't handle filming well directly into the sun, but the Phantom 3 Pro and the Phantom 4 did a pretty good job of it. And this one really, I'm talking about the Typhoon H. Typhoon H just really... great question. Do you think the landing gear is a gimmick? Do we really need that? Here's my opinion. The landing gear going up and down when I was out in the field flying it, it was really cool. I mean, it was neat to watch. Now, a lot of people are going to say, if you're using, the dual controller option on the Typhoon H, got a second person controlling the camera, I could see how it could be of value because that camera can rotate 360 degrees and it would provide the camera operator a lot of enhanced flexibility. But from the perspective of one person flying it, you can take a Phantom 3 Pro or a Phantom 4 and you've got 4K on it, and you can just rotate the drone, in a 360 degree pattern and accomplish the same thing, in my opinion. So I look at the retractable landing gear as being more of a novelty. Now, granted, with Phantom 3 Pro, on rare occasions, I've been able to capture the landing gear in the camera's field of view. Now with the Phantom 4, because the landing gear on the Phantom 4 is slightly wider spaced, I haven't been able to capture the Phantom 4's landing gear within the camera's field of view. So the Phantom 4 versus Typhoon H, could I say that the retractable landing gear is an advantage? It's really not. Again, the only scenario where I personally could see it being an advantage would be if you did have two camera operators and they wanted to, while you were flying, rotate that camera in a 360-degree pattern. So from that perspective, it could be nice, but yeah. Unfortunately, and I see your messages on there. I don't talk about the the financial side of YouTube. Let's see what else. Just picked up an iPad Mini 4 for my Phantom 4, and I love it. Yeah, the best thing I would recommend, I would check out just Google. Google internet monetization. And my best advice is just to play around with it, especially if you're looking at tutorial content. Find topics that a lot of people seem to want to know, but are fresh enough to where a lot of people don't know how. And if you can provide the how-to in an easy-to-understand format for anyone, that would be something that I would chase initially. I would really go after the how-to, because that's something that can benefit everyone, especially how-to topics that are not yet overly saturated. So perform a Google search for whatever how-to procedure, see if there's content out there. If so, is there a lot of content or maybe just a little bit of content? And then create your own how-to for that particular procedure. That's something I would strongly suggest researching first. And ultimately, it's a learn as you go process. I mean, this isn't, it's not like there's the book of YouTube where you can just pick up this book and learn how to, how to organically, again, emphasis on organic growth is super important. You got to, some quick advice here, you've got to connect with your audience. I mean, respond. Set aside, doesn't matter how many things you do, how many jobs you may work, set aside X amount of hours or X amount of minutes per day, whatever your schedule allows, and proactively work to personally respond to as many comments as you can, because that's what differentiates a YouTube marketer from a real YouTube personality. Because when you look at YouTube, there's a lot of different animals out there. You've got the people that obviously they're part of a large marketing agency and their videos are just edited to the T, and it's just fake. And then you've got the people out there that are extremely low budget. They may or may not become obsessed with YouTube, but they've started out. They've at least gotten the boots on the ground. So they may be out with an outdated camera phone, but they're still capturing content, and they're proactively working to grow their channel. Or maybe they're not proactively working to grow their channel. They're just throwing videos up and not doing anything more. Where you're going to find the best springboard for success, in my opinion, is to, and let's see, you said, is there a topic on YouTube you want to create or explore but have been reluctant to do for any reason? Well, obviously, my thing is on YouTube, and hopefully this will help to answer your question. What I like to do is whatever I feel like doing. If I enjoy it, if I'm curious about the hobby or the tutorial procedure or whatever, if it's something I'm personally interested in or I want to become knowledgeable about, then that's something I'm going to feature on my channel. I'm not going to feature something just for the sake of featuring it. And I'm not going to feature something because somebody else wants me to. Now, when I say that, I mean I'm not part of a multi-channel network. I'm a 100% independent channel. So the small level of growth that I've experienced so far is the product of my own work. I'm identifying what works, what doesn't work, what my viewers like, what they dislike, and I go down that path. So I'm not having to report to, corporate entity XYZ. They come to your content on X did better than content on A. We need you to do more of this. No. If I want to continue to post content that people don't like, I can. Now, obviously, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to post content that, number one, I'm personally passionate about, and number two, content that seems to be in line with what my viewers appreciate and expect. So, yeah, it's go out there and explore, see what your fans like, because it's hard until you've developed that initial subscriber base, and by that I mean, once you hit 1,000, maybe 2,000-3,000 subscribers, then you really start to feel what you like. You start to find out what your viewers like and what they dislike. Why did I make a video on how to slice an onion? Well, actually, that's a great question. There's several reasons I did that. Number one, I like to cook, and I was in the kitchen and I had my Sony A7R II. It was just sitting over there. It's like, hey man, come film a video, and I'm like, cutting an onion, and the camera's like, dude, you got to film a video. There's people that want to know how to slice an onion. They're making onion rings, and they don't know how to slice an onion and get those rings. I'm like, dude, that's cool. Talking to my camera, and I picked up the camera and I filmed a video of how to slice an onion. I actually got some more coming out. I've got how to slice squash, how to slice a tomato. I've already done the how to boil corn, or how to shuck corn, and I've got how to boil corn coming too. The Alltel X-Star Premium hits the market. Any ideas on reviewing this one? Actually, I want to review the Alltel. It actually, from a specs perspective, it looks pretty good. The thing that impresses me the most about it on paper is the fact that it has an Exmor based camera. If you're not familiar with Exmor is a Sony. It's a Sony based camera. So that's a Sony sensor. SENSOR, I should say. So that's kind of cool. And that's my main thing with drones, is having a quality 4K camera. And that was one of the deal breakers for me with with at least the current model Typhoon H camera. It just wasn't up to snuff. But it is a modular camera, so maybe some of the high-end camera developers see that opportunity, and maybe they'll make a modular camera that works with the Typhoon H. That'd be really cool. Do you think DJI should change the body type on the Phantom going to the next generation, or does it matter to you? Actually, I think DJI's kind of been smart. And a lot of people refer to them as the Apple of drones. Now, I'm not an Apple fanboy. I do use Apple because I like Final Cut Pro 10, and unfortunately, Final Cut Pro 10 will only run on Apple products. And I like Apple hardware design. Granted, it does seem to be overpriced, but it is what it is. And I know you can build a Hackintosh, and I'm not going to go that route. I'm just going to buy the Apple equipment and use the Apple software and enjoy it. But a lot of people say DJI is the same way, and I think there's value in keeping that consistent look and feel. And number one, from Phantom 1, granted the technology's gotten a lot better, but by using a Phantom 1, I could have just as easily picked up a Phantom 4 and felt right at home with it. It's the natural progression of technology. And as we see that similar yet slightly different form factor of the Phantom, we're seeing it get, it's getting more refined. The Phantom 4, the build quality of the body is thicker. I mean, it's just getting more refined, and I think it's a design that people grow to respect and appreciate. So I think that to answer your question, I think they should keep the same form factor. Now, if they want to go smaller, that's great. More portable travel size and travel weight. That's always a good thing. But I think they should stick to the same basic format. It's a proven design that from version to version has continued to get better, in my opinion. So I like the Phantom design. I mean, I don't know what y'all think about it. Looking at, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but looking at Alltel, for example, their design obviously seems to closely mimic the Phantom, and imitation is the best form of flattery. So it definitely suggests that that there's something quality about that design. What do you think about, what did you do with your Typhoon H? Unfortunately, I sent it back. When you get a lemon, and a lot of people are like, man, your customer service is great. I did not purchase a drone hoping to deal with customer support. So, when I get something, And out of the box, it's got a defective micro SD card slot on the controller. I can't even update the controller firmware because of that. And then based upon people's feedback in regards to my videos, they say that I likely had a defective camera. Honestly, the camera worked, but I just wasn't impressed with the video quality. Now, keep in mind with that, just like my Phantom 3 Pro, my Phantom 4, I was filming at 4K 30 in auto mode. I was using the exact same 4K video workflow. So you can see my workflow here for editing 4K video. If anybody's curious about that, it's actually pretty simple. Now, obviously, I use Final Cut Pro 10 and I use compressor, and that's the magic bullet is compressor, because when you're creating 4K videos, they're very large file size. So just from a storage perspective, you're going to have a lot of hard disk space to keep them if you want to keep the videos that you've created. And also from an upload size, what's that? Oh, YouTube just cut you off to broadcast an advert. That's cool. Very cool. Yeah, so do you think you will upgrade your Osmo camera to X5 or higher? I don't know. I think honestly right now I'm kind of in a holding pattern, because GoPro inevitably has got to release something new. And I'm saying that based upon, many reasons. Number one, unfortunately, the GoPro Hero Session, in my professional opinion, was a failure. It really sent GoPro in the opposite direction. So, they've got to bring something big to the table. So I'm hoping that in conjunction with GoPro Karma, that hopefully we see a GoPro camera. Hopefully they'll come out with a GoPro camera that doesn't have the fisheye, and something that's also gimbal stabilized. That would be really cool. But that X5 camera looks really nice. I don't know if you've had hands-on experience with it, but it looks like a really high-quality camera. I have not had my hands on the X5, by the way. I have had my hands on the Inspire, but the Inspire that I had was the one with the camera basically just like the like the one on the Osmo, that style camera. Problem with compressor, it compresses with limited color profile. On your Mac, install FF Drop. It uses full color profile free too. Cool. That's something I want to explore, and this is, I just like to be open with everyone about my video editing. The something I really want to become more familiar with is color grading, because I know especially with the Sony Alphas, and that's what I shoot with now, are the Alphas. If you get into shooting in special modes like S-Log and that sort of stuff, you can really take that video in post and make it look amazing. So, which software packages out there for Mac do people use and find to be user friendly for color grading? Because all I've done is the color enhancement tool within Final Cut Pro 10, and I know that's probably pretty low level stuff. I mean, it's not going to do the professional color stuff. That's my workflow right there at the bottom of that page. You can find my 4K video editing workflow. Let's see. It's not color grading, but color preservation. Oh, I got you. So when I when I use compressor, it's going to kill the color. Okay, so I need to check out FF Drop. From the reviews I saw about Typhoon H, the cam suffers a major rolling shutter problem. That's why I quit on Unique, despite I fly and film with a Q500 4K. Huh. Yeah, I wasn't, looking at, having looked at hundreds of Phantom 3 Pro and Phantom 4 videos on my computer, immediately when I pulled up the Typhoon H video, it wasn't there for me. And I know, with a lot of other people, I'm sure that if they haven't used another drone with another camera, they may not have noticed a difference. Because the video quality is good. It's just not anywhere close. From, at least that's what my eyes tell me. So let's see here. What else we got going on? We got drones. We got video editing. We got Sean Coonery, the big Maine Coon cat. He'd get on the camera, but I gotta work on this camera so we can incorporate him into the next show. So I think that's going to be a big component for us. Starting to see more people trickle in. This is really, I tell you, this live stuff is really fascinating. And again, I apologize. As I mentioned earlier, this shirt's not the right color for the green screen, but I think thanks to y'all, sticking it out and giving me this advice about zooming the camera in and just some good pointers here. I think going forward we're going to have a really good live show format here. And the stream health at 720p is still good, so that's encouraging. The Autel X-Star Premium doesn't seem to be available in the United Kingdom at the moment. Do you know when it comes out? Actually I don't. I'm not sure about that. One thing interesting to point out about the Premium, and obviously I fly line of sight to be safe and responsible, but the range of it is significantly less than the Phantom 3 Pro or the Phantom 4. So, if you are in a situation where you're out over open ocean on international waters where there's nothing around, it may not be the best option. Let's see. It says, are there cracks on the motor housing of Phantom 3 and is it a problem? Now keep in mind, with my Phantom 3 Pro, before my maiden flight, the first thing I did was put quick disconnect prop guards on it. And with those, what those do, they, in my opinion, if mine was going to be prone to cracking, the cracks probably would have come into play had I not replaced that. Because my assumption is that the people that experience the cracks, maybe the screws in the bottom of the motors from the factory, maybe they were they were tightened too tightly, over tightened. And that may have been what resulted in it, because I never experienced it. Because again, the first thing I did when I got the Phantom 3 Pro was install the quick disconnect prop guards. So I think if mine was going to encounter that problem, that's probably what saved me from that. But you can find the quick disconnect prop guards there. I just posted a link. So let's see. People are comparing Phantom 4 with Unique H. They are two completely different craft. Yeah, I couldn't compare the Unique, the H, Typhoon H. I wouldn't compare it to the Phantom 3 Pro or the Phantom 4. Completely different. The Phantom 3 Pro or the Phantom 4 is, in my opinion, definitely outperforms it from a camera perspective. Now, the Typhoon H is faster, and it does have retractable landing gear. But, everybody's got their own opinion. It just wasn't for me. Despite the fact that mine was defective, it just wasn't for me. I mean, it was still a little bit on the large side. I was hoping for a smaller package for travel size and weight. It was still larger than the Phantom 3 Pro or the Phantom 4, but it wasn't unmanageable like the Inspire is. So, from that perspective, it was cool. Someone says, I had cracks, had to use Bondic from USA, but excellent stuff. No cracks since. That's cool. That's one thing with the Phantom 4, as we mentioned earlier. The the Phantom 4 has a more rigid body, in my opinion. So that's one of the advantages that I've seen with with the Phantom 4 is that it has that. When you hold it in your hands, you're going to notice, number one, it's heavier, and then number two, it's just the plastic type material that's made out of just feels to be a lot more solid. So let's see. Yeah, we've been going on for an hour here. Got to get out and get some exercise and ride a bicycle. It says, do you feel the motor mounts need to be a bit higher to stop them from getting in the shots? Which drone are you talking about? You're talking about the Typhoon H? I'm assuming probably you're talking about the H. I was, depending upon the camera up and down, I was able to keep them out. Same with the Phantom 4. Here's my trick to flying the Phantom 4 and not getting the props in there. If I'm flying forward, I angle it down. But if I want to get those really cool shots, I just fly backwards. Because when I'm flying backwards, I can never get the props in the frame. So I don't know if you fly in reverse a lot. Keep in mind, if you do that, then you can go into post-production and reverse your video. So that even though you're flying backwards, it'll give the illusion it's flying forward. So that's a trick I use in a lot of editing. Now the downside to that, if you've got boats or vehicles that are moving in the camera's field of view, it can look funny because they'll be going in reverse when you reverse the video. Did you have any problem with Typhoon H motors running hot? I flew mine 15 minutes and all 6 motors were too hot to hold. Well, you know what's funny? One thing, and I didn't notice it with the motors. Actually, I didn't really touch the motors to see. But after flying for I think it was about 18 minutes, the middle part where the battery is, it was just like super hot. So that was something I noticed. I've never noticed my Phantom 3 Pro or Phantom 4 getting hot like that. I mean, obviously when you take the battery out of it after flying, the battery feels warm, but I never noticed that. Someone says, I hear you're always saying that you always fly line of sight. There's a bargain in the Netherlands on a Phantom 3 4K, but the range is limited to 1,200 meters because there's no light bridge. Well, keep in mind the Phantom 3 Standard and the Phantom 3 4K, those use Wi-Fi, and then obviously the Advanced and the Professional use light bridge. So honestly, even flying line of sight, I like the light bridge because it's a consistently better FPV experience. And again, with my FPV use, I'm simply using FPV to continue to confirm rather that what I'm filming is in the camera's field of view. So if you're not going far out, I mean the Phantom 3 Standard or the Phantom 3 4K, either of those with Wi-Fi would likely be an acceptable solution. You're just not going to get the level of quality that you would with the light bridge that's present in the Advanced, the Professional, or the Phantom 4. But yeah, I mean, great drone in my opinion. I look at the Phantom 3 Standard and the Phantom 3 4K as kind of an upgraded version of the Phantom 2 Vision Plus. And I flew the Phantom 2 Vision Plus for a long time. It was a great drone. Obviously, it topped out at 1080p HD, but at its time, it was very nice. And yeah, I would, for the, this potentially the small amount of cash difference, I would probably go for the Pro or the Advanced. Pro if you want 4K, Advanced if you're fine with 1080p. And the Advanced with the firmware update apparently would do 2.7K. So it used to max out at 1080p, but now it maxes out at 2.7K with the firmware update. So yeah, this has been a good live show here. It says, I love using the intelligent flight modes, especially the POI, but having watched loads of people's YouTube videos, it looks like many people don't know how to use those features enough. Yeah, with the intelligent flight modes, and I found them to work quite well, but it definitely takes some practice. And what I did, I went out, obviously in a safe and responsible location, big wide open field, and I just tinkered with them. I had a few batteries and got to where I was familiar with the modes. And to be frank with you, I don't use the modes a lot. I like part of the thrill I get is just taking it out and flying it around and being able to control it while I fly. And that was another thing about the H, having all of those controls on the controller. And I'm sure if someone flew it for a while, they would become more familiar with everything. But I like the simplicity of the Phantom 3 Pro and the Phantom 4 controller. I mean, you can focus on flying, and and the camera is easy to manipulate. You don't have to overthink everything. Well, where's this button? Where do I put that? That sort of thing. So, that's another advantage to the Phantom over the Typhoon H, in my opinion. I've not used the Litchi app, and I've heard a lot of people ask me if I've used the Litchi app. So that's it's something I may check out in an upcoming video. Actually, from my experience, I've enjoyed the DJI Go app a lot. It's a lot more robust than the old Phantom 2. Was it Phantom 2 Vision Plus? They call it the DJI. What do they call it? The Vision app, I think. I forget the name of it, but it's a lot better than that. So yeah, we're trucking along here with this show. Sorry about all the technical difficulties in the beginning, but I mean that's just part of it. Figuring out. Yeah, it says I agree. I agree on simplicity. KISS. Keep it stupid simple. Yeah, that's true. I mean, you. And the downside of that is that sometimes people like to tinker with different technologies, and if something's just too cookie cutter to where it's just too easy to use, that may bore a lot of people. But for me, and again, this is my thing with drones. I like a drone because, it's a camera. It's a 4K video camera that can get some really cool and stable shots. So when I'm using that, I want that camera to be as simplistic as possible to operate, and that's what I get out of the Phantom 3 Pro and the Phantom 4. If you just like to fly and not use POI, etc., then Litchi will not interest you. Yeah, that's the thing. I never really, even though I've used them, just to say that I did, I never really used the intelligent flight mode. So from that perspective, the Litchi app, that probably wouldn't really benefit me. Was the Inspire 1 easy to fly, and does it justify the cost of the drone? I flew an Inspire 1. It was a friend's. And I'm like, I want to fly this thing. It was easy to fly. It was as easy to fly as a Phantom 3 Pro or a Phantom 4. The landing gear retracts and it lets down when it lands. It's too big. It's too heavy. And that's what I say over and over in my videos. For me, I want something that's small travel size, small travel weight. And from a video quality perspective, and I keep in mind it didn't have the super duper expensive camera. It just had the camera that looks like what comes on a DJI Osmo on it. But I just didn't notice any video quality difference in 4K 30 between it and the Phantom 3 Pro at the time. So I couldn't. I just don't personally, even if it was the same size of the Phantom, I just don't see the value of the Inspire and spending, because I mean obviously it's probably going to cost a lot more than a Phantom. So I don't know. I mean, unless you're slapping on a super high end camera, that's the only situation where I could see that Inspire may be a value, if somebody's putting on a super high end camera to get some extra high end video. But other than that, I don't see the point. Do you fly in ATTI mode much? I fly in various modes, but I mean, normally, like I said, I'm just taking it up, going slow and low, and capturing 4K 30 videos. So, well, let's see. I got messages coming in. I gotta check my phone here. See what's going on. Okay. Have you tried? Yeah, actually, I did try. I've got a lot of Parrot Bebop videos. Check them out. Let me get you a link here. I got a playlist to those videos. That drone was interesting. It was one of those things. It was kind of like when it came out, it was going to be one of the first DJI Phantom alternatives, and the manufacturer was very. I'm pulling open that link for you. They were very confident that they had a revolutionary design and it was going to do really well. But the bottom line is that from a video quality perspective, it was software stabilized video. So unlike a gimbal, this was software stabilized. So it was degraded video quality, and even software stabilization wasn't anywhere close to the stability of the gimbal stabilized video, and even the Phantom 2 was Zenmu's gimbal that I was flying at the time. It wasn't even close to that, but it was fun. You could do some tricks with it. You could push a button and it would flip over and those sorts of things. But I mean, it was more. If you're in it for video, it was not there. But you can check out my video playlist for the Bebop. I just posted a link, and it was fun. You get the Sky controller for it, then you got this huge controller that completely negated the size benefits that it brought to the table, the smaller travel size and smaller travel weight. So, yeah, it was it was fun to play with, but yeah, if you want something that's even semi-serious video, it's not going to be it. And it doesn't do 4K. It tops out at 1080p. and it's degraded, in my opinion, degraded 1080p quality. But it was fun. Hey, I didn't, one thing I'll say about the Bebop, I didn't have any hardware failures with it. So from that perspective, it was reliable. Yeah, I'm going to have to wrap up too. I'm getting phone calls coming into the studio, so appreciate everyone joining, and I will have another live show soon. Again, I'm doing this. I'm not scheduling them. I may start to schedule some in the future, but if you can tune in, you can. If you can't, be sure to check out my archive of videos. I've got a playlist for IrixGuy's live show, and then I've also got a playlist for Epic Drone Show. You can go to epicdroneshow.com to find those. epicdroneshow.com. Thanks, everyone. Y'all have a good day. I'm out of here. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. youtube.com/IrixGuy.